could not afford this costly treatment. So I think we consider that health is a human right, and it has to be granted to everybody, irrespective of their condition, economic conditions.
Speaking of economic conditions, now we have a euro crisis, and with the euro crisis, of course, Italy is one of those countries, along with Portugal and a few others, where it is said that there is a possibility that rival textile, countries, textile originating countries, will not be given perhaps those concessions as one would like. Any possibility on that, or is it just a hearsay?
Just let me say that we were all working, Pakistan on one side and European Union on the other side, on the so-called GSP+, which should enter into force in January 2014. If I'm not wrong, Pakistan is applying in February 13. There will be the possibility for Pakistan, if it qualifies, but of course if it's eligible for that, to have a duty-free access to 71 products, including textile, of course, to the EU market. Additional opportunity for the economy, for the Pakistani economy, additional opportunity to create new jobs. But just let me stress that Italy was in support of Pakistan, irrespective of the fact that we are competitors. I think it is an additional evidence, an additional sign of our friendship and of our sincere commitment to and for Pakistan.
Where do you see Pakistan globally at this moment in time? Of course, it is suffering from extremism, terrorism, and of course security issues. Is the government of Italy doing anything on this aspect as well?
This is of course much more linked to the lies with the Pakistani authorities to affect challenges, to address challenges affecting this country. So I wouldn't elaborate on it further, but let me say that we are optimistic. I'm personally very much optimistic in this country, seeing the potential it has. I don't want to be too optimistic or too diplomatic, but just let me say that every country has challenges. No country is an exception. Pakistan is not an exception. I'm sure it will be able to address the challenges it has.
But on the security issues, any possibility of perhaps advancing our own security system here against the terrorists?
It will not be done, of course, in cooperation with Italy. I mean, this is a decision which lies with the Pakistani authorities. It's part of the political debate in this country. But just let me say that in a much broader dimension, that we have a very good cooperation even in defense. Just let me say that a couple of weeks ago it was ratified a memorandum of understanding for defense cooperation between the two countries, that in a month or two we had the visit of the Italian Chief of Joint Staff, the Italian Chief of Army Staff in Karachi on the side, and for the Ideas 2012, and there he met his counterpart, General Chiani. Then we had a visit a couple of weeks ago of the Italian Chief of Navy Staff, which means cooperation, even as far as defense is concerned, is becoming one of the key points in our bilateral cooperation.
Okay, we'll just again go for a break. ब्रेक के बाद हम आपके सामने दोबारा आते हैं. यहाँ इन्होंने बड़ी इंटरेस्टिंग बातें की हैं कि जो डिफेंस की कोऑपरेशन कैसी है. इटालियन के आप कह लें कि नेवल चीफ यहाँ आए, आर्मी के चीफ आए, और हमारे जो आर्मी के चीफ जनरल कियानी, उनके साथ उनकी मुलाकातें हुई, और डिफेंस के ऊपर भी काफ़ी काम हो रहा है. लेकिन पाकिस्तान को ग्लोबली कैसे देखती है इटली और द वेस्टर्न और कह लें कि मगरबी ममालिक पाकिस्तान को कैसे देखते हैं और उसके अलावा इंटरनेशनल सियासत में क्या हो रहा है, इनसे आज बात करेंगे उस पर इस ब्रेक के बाद। Welcome back to Q&A with PJ.Mir. Those who have joined me here in Pakistan and on our international beams, I have the ambassador from Italy, Adriano Chiodi Cianfarani. It's a very difficult name, and I think I'll get the ambassador to pronounce it himself as well. But the ambassador is new to this country. He's been speaking about what Italy is doing with Pakistan as far as bilateral relations are concerned, of course, and also what Italy is offering in terms of health, education, agriculture, and of course trade and commerce. But how does the ambassador see, as somebody from outside and seeing Pakistan today from a global viewpoint? And that is exactly my question, Ambassador. You just come in here. Prior to coming to Pakistan, I'm sure you would have been briefed. Prior to coming to Pakistan, you would have been told about Pakistan. But having said so, purely from a Western viewpoint, how do they perceive Pakistan to be? What kind of a state?
Pakistan is a state, very easy to say. Pakistan is a state which is key in this region, and it is key for the stability, peace and stability in the region, and it is increasingly important globally.
And you feel that, you know, despite a lot of people, you know, putting the negatives on Pakistan, do you see a positives there?
Of course, I see the positive. There is not black and white. Everything cannot be only bleak. Of course, there are problems that have to be addressed. I think the problems that you can read on the press, and which are part of the internal domestic political debate in the country. Everybody speaks of law and order situation, and for sure the solution of law and order situation would add to the possibility for Pakistan to have a stronger growth, to have a stronger economy. Of course, the problem of economic reforms, social reforms, human rights, there is nothing new. They are part of the debate in this country, and I see a very vibrant civil society. I was very much impressed how vibrant the civil society and even the media are in this country. So everything is not bleak. We are, and Italy is very much aware of the challenge, of the potentials of this country. We are a genuine friend of Pakistan. We are very much willing to cooperate and to help Pakistan in its challenges, and that is my message.
Good, positive message. But Ambassador, Pakistan has a major issue here, a long-standing issue on Kashmir. How do you think that, again, from a neutral point of view, how do you think that this issue can be resolved between India and Pakistan?
I would very much. Of course, I have no solution. I mean, it's not an easy solution. For the benefit of the two countries, for the benefit for the stability in the region, I hope not only that the problem is solved, properly addressed, solved, but that it will be done in a peaceful and cooperative way. We encourage very much the two countries to find positive settlements of issues still dividing the two countries.
And should the United Nations Charter be followed on that?
United Nations Charter, of course, it's one key point.
Now, apart from that, there's something else which I should have mentioned before, is we have a sea touching the port of Karachi, and that sea is contaminated. I mean, out there, if you go and have a look, it is suspected that the fish contains mercury. But what can be done to eradicate this problem, because we are sending in, I would say, polluted water in the high seas, and eventually as they say, the repercussions are going to be drastic. So any plans of helping Pakistan on that?
Not to my knowledge, but just let me, not to my knowledge, I have to admit I'm not very knowledgeable and not very much aware of this problem. Just let me mention that Italy is supporting a micro project on how to treat fishery coming from that area. I think it's a small contribution. Of course, we very much welcome Pakistan to solve this problem. But don't ask me how, because I have no recipe, unfortunately.
And what about water? Now, we have a great difficulty of water all over the globe. I mean, we just have, as the experts say, just about 5% of fresh water. So how do we resolve the fresh water issue in Pakistan and even in Italy or internationally? What do we do? At least I'd see from Pakistan's point of view, what should a common man do, an ordinary man do to preserve water?
I think this is not only a problem of Pakistan. Pakistan is the second largest surface of glaciers in the world after the Arctic. I think it's a very general problem, and it is linked to the global changes. It is a challenge that we all have to properly address. Protection of environment.
Ambassador, you met our president here. You gave your credentials there, I understand. How did you see our president? Did you speak to him?
I speak to him. I have very small talks. I think he's very much aware of all dossiers, and with a very positive approach towards Italy. I was very much impressed how good he knows Italy and the kind of emotional links he has for my country. I cannot say much more than that.
Well, I'm sure he likes Italian clothes. Tell me, now you've also met the Prime Minister.
He's not the only one.
He's not the only one, of course not. How do you see our Prime Minister? I understand you've also met him.
Yes. And a hard-working one. He too, with a lot of knowledge out of the sea, very much aware of challenges Pakistan has to address, to face.
Now, there is no one better than to ask you this question. There are a lot of Pakistanis who would love to go and see Italy and, of course, view its beautiful areas. But usually there is a problem on getting visas and, a lot of, red tape all over the world. I mean, it's not with you. But what is the best way to approach your embassy? Because as most of the embassies are inside the diplomatic enclave, it is very difficult for a common man to come along and acquire visas.
We have a system. I mean, as far as the procedures, we are part of the Schengen Agreement. Procedures are the same for all Schengen countries, including Italy. Just let me say that Italy has probably the largest amount of applications yearly, not least because we have the second largest Pakistani community in Europe after the UK. But how to approach the visa section? We have a system. Applications have to be handed over to an external society which has the first treatment and the first registration. Then they will be dealt directly by the visa office. Just let me say that the visa is one of our major issues. We're not here to say no, to reject visa, provided that all requirements are met, which is not always the case, of course. But I can give you a figure. 2011, and this year will be the same, we received around 18,500 applications, which is a considerable number. But again, the number of applications rejected, I think it's very much in line with those of the other Schengen agreement. So we have very dedicated person, very honest people, with a great competence on visa. Again, we're not here to reject visa. We're not, but the precondition is that all the requirements are met. Once the requirements are met,
then you give it to them.
We can issue visa without any problem.
Now, Ambassador, there's one major complaint about Italy and I don't know about the embassy, but there's a major complaint about Italy is that Italy does so much for Pakistan, but yet it doesn't give its cuisine here. Why is that?
Oh, thank you.
There is only one restaurant in Lahore and probably one in Karachi. So, what is the reason?
My knowledge, there is one restaurant in Lahore. I will not mention the name, but just let me say that it's a very good one. There will be a second one in Pakistan, here in Islamabad. Next Sunday will be inaugurated an Italian restaurant. Why do I say Italian? Because the cook is Italian. So I will be myself cutting the ribbon. I cannot make any advertisement. It's a private business run by Pakistani and not by Italian, but the cook is Italian. And I'm very proud to have an Italian restaurant in Islamabad as well.
Final question. Program is about to end. Since we're talking about the cuisine, what would you recommend to a Pakistani? What should they eat as far as Italian food is concerned?
Everybody knows spaghetti. It's hard to say. Spaghetti, it's the basic. In Italy, each region has its own cuisine and its own recipes. So I cannot make publicity or advertisement for any regional cuisine. But I think what we call pasta, noodle, it's something that I would highly recommend. And I saw that it was once a typical Italian dish, no longer, because no matter where you are, at least in Europe, you can find excellent spaghetti dishes. They are linked to Italy, but you can eat everywhere. And being Christmas on the 25th, what is your message? Christmas is for us, of course it's a religious festivity, but it's even a festivity of family. So I wish to everybody, irrespective of their religious belief, health, prosperity, and to well-being in their own families. Ambassador, thank you very much. Thank you very much. ये थे इटली के एम्बेसडर एड्रियानो क्योदी, और इनसे बातचीत हुई कि बताएं अपने मुल्क के मुतालिक, क्योंकि यहाँ बैठ के आपस में बैठ के हम बड़े मियाँ मिठू बन जाते हैं, लेकिन बाहर के मुल्कों के मुतालिक कुछ पता नहीं होता है. उनके जो एम्बेसडर्स आते हैं उनसे कोई बातचीत नहीं होती है, और ये एक मैं समझता हूँ आप एक सोशल, आप इसे कहें कि एक वैक्यूम होता है. इस सोशल वैक्यूम को आप उसी वक्त ही रिमूव कर सकते हैं कि ये जो हमारा मीडिया है, आज इस मीडिया के अंदर हम ये अवेयरनेस नहीं लेके आएंगे तो आपका क्या ख्याल है कहाँ से आएगी? कहीं और से नहीं आएगी, किसी और ने आपको बताना नहीं है. ये मीडिया अवेयरनेस बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट चीज़ है, जो मैं समझता हूँ कि आज के दौर में नई जनरेशन के लिए एक बहुत इम्पॉर्टेंट और एक बहुत आप कह लें कि एक बड़ा ही रिस्पॉन्सिबल एक किरदार प्ले करेगी. इसी तरह के प्रोग्राम्स भी आपके सामने लेते आएंगे, चटपटे भी आपको कहते हैं, जो पॉलिटिकल प्रोग्राम्स है वो भी आते रहेंगे, लेकिन जो भी आए, जहां भी आए, जैसे भी आए, पाकिस्तान का ख्याल रखिए. खुदा हाफिज.
बिजली